A sprawling network of fuel oil smuggling, worth an estimated $1 billion, has been exposed, sending shockwaves through the global energy market. This revelation has not only highlighted the audacity of the smugglers, but also the vulnerabilities within the global supply chain. This intricate operation, with its tentacles reaching deep into the heart of the Middle East, has raised serious concerns about sanctions evasion, illicit financial flows, and regional instability. The smuggling network has cleverly exploited the geopolitical tensions and the vast, often unmonitored expanses of the region to carry out its activities. The network's exposure has shone a light on the shadowy underbelly of the oil trade, revealing a complex web of actors, routes, and motives. These actors range from local operatives to international financiers, all working in concert to bypass regulations and maximize profits. The discovery of this illicit enterprise has sent ripples of alarm through the international community, particularly the United States. Governments are now scrambling to reassess their monitoring and enforcement strategies to prevent such large-scale operations from continuing unchecked. The sheer scale of the operation, estimated to involve millions of barrels of fuel oil, underscores the audacity and sophistication of the smugglers. These operations are not just about moving oil. They involve a highly coordinated effort to forge documents, bribe officials, and navigate complex logistics. The financial gains from this illegal trade are staggering, providing a lifeline to sanctioned entities and fueling instability in an already volatile region. The profits are often funneled into further criminal activities, exacerbating the cycle of violence and corruption. The implications of this smuggling ring extend far beyond the immediate financial losses. The distortion of market prices and the undermining of legitimate businesses create a ripple effect that can destabilize economies and erode public trust in institutions. It highlights the challenges of enforcing sanctions regimes in a complex geopolitical landscape. The ability of these networks to adapt and evolve in response to enforcement measures makes it a cat-and-mouse game for authorities. The case also raises questions about the effectiveness of existing mechanisms to track and combat illicit financial flows. Advanced technologies and international cooperation are crucial in identifying and dismantling these sophisticated networks. The exposure of this network serves as a stark reminder of the vulnerabilities of the global energy market and the persistent threat posed by transnational criminal organizations. These groups are constantly seeking new ways to exploit weaknesses in the system. This discovery is a wake-up call for policymakers and law enforcement agencies worldwide. It emphasizes the need for a proactive approach in monitoring and securing the energy supply chain. It underscores the need for greater cooperation and coordination to disrupt these illicit networks and bring the perpetrators to justice. Joint operations and intelligence sharing are essential in tackling the transnational nature of these crimes. The fight against fuel smuggling is not just about protecting economic interests. It is about safeguarding global security and stability. The stakes are high, and the international community must remain vigilant and united in its efforts to combat this pervasive threat. The fuel oil smuggling operation follows a complex and carefully orchestrated route designed to evade detection and maximize profits. This illicit trade is a multi-billion-dollar industry that spans continents and involves a myriad of players, each with a specific role in the operation. The journey begins with the diversion of fuel oil, often from state-controlled refineries or storage facilities. These facilities are typically well-guarded and monitored, making the initial diversion a critical and risky step in the smuggling process. This is often achieved through a combination of corruption, bribery, and intimidation, highlighting the network's reach and influence within the energy sector. High-ranking officials and low-level workers alike may be complicit, turning a blind eye in exchange for financial gain or under threat of violence. Once diverted, the fuel oil is typically transferred to smaller vessels, often disguised or operating under false flags. These ships are equipped with sophisticated technology to avoid detection, including false documentation and hidden compartments. These vessels then navigate a clandestine network of maritime routes, often making use of ship-to-ship transfers in international waters to further obscure the origin and destination of the illicit cargo. The transfers are usually conducted at night or in remote areas to minimize the risk of interception by authorities. The use of complex ownership structures and shell companies adds another layer of anonymity, making it difficult to trace the proceeds of the illegal trade. These companies are often registered in jurisdictions with lax regulatory oversight, providing a veil of legitimacy to the illicit activities. The final destination for the smuggled fuel oil varies, but it often ends up in countries facing sanctions or experiencing fuel shortages. In these regions, the demand for fuel is high, and the smuggled oil can be sold at a premium, making it an attractive market for smugglers. In these markets, the smuggled fuel can be sold at a significant markup, generating enormous profits for the network. The fuel is often sold in informal markets, where regulation is minimal, and transactions are conducted in cash to avoid detection. The illicit proceeds are then laundered through a complex web of financial transactions, often involving front companies, offshore accounts, and complicit financial institutions. These financial maneuvers are designed to obscure the origin of the funds and integrate them into the legitimate economy. The intricate nature of this operation, involving multiple actors, jurisdictions, and financial instruments, poses significant challenges for law enforcement agencies. Tracking the flow of illicit fuel and the associated financial transactions requires extensive resources and expertise. It highlights the need for sophisticated investigative techniques, international cooperation, and information sharing to effectively dismantle these criminal networks. Collaborative efforts between countries, sharing intelligence and resources, are crucial in combating this global issue. Advanced technologies, such as data analytics and satellite surveillance, play a vital role in identifying and intercepting smuggling operations.
Iraq, despite being an oil-rich nation, finds itself at the heart of this illicit fuel trade. The country's vast reserves, which should be a source of prosperity, have instead become a magnet for criminal activities. The country's complex political landscape, coupled with a struggling economy and a history of corruption, has created an environment ripe for exploitation. Political instability and economic challenges have left many citizens desperate, making them vulnerable to the lure of quick money through illegal means. Iraq's official fuel subsidy program, designed to provide affordable fuel to its citizens, has become a key target for smugglers. These subsidies, while intended to ease the financial burden on the populace, have inadvertently created opportunities for exploitation. The program's generous subsidies create a significant price differential between Iraqi fuel and international market prices. This disparity is a goldmine for smugglers, who can buy fuel cheaply in Iraq and sell it at much higher prices across the border.
This disparity creates a powerful economic incentive for smuggling, as criminals can reap substantial profits by diverting subsidized fuel and selling it at market rates elsewhere. The profits are so lucrative that entire networks have been established to facilitate this illegal trade. The porous nature of Iraq's borders, coupled with weak law enforcement capacity in some areas, further exacerbates the problem. Smugglers exploit these vulnerabilities, using remote and poorly monitored border crossings to move fuel out of the country.
The Iraqi government's efforts to combat fuel smuggling have been hampered by a number of factors. Despite various initiatives and crackdowns, the scale of the problem remains daunting. The country's fragile security situation, with the persistent threat of terrorism and ongoing political instability, often diverts resources and attention away from tackling organized crime. Security forces are stretched thin, and their focus is frequently shifted to more immediate threats. Additionally, endemic corruption within state institutions, including the security forces and the energy sector, provides fertile ground for smuggling networks to operate with impunity. Corrupt officials may turn a blind eye or even facilitate smuggling activities in exchange for bribes.
The continued prevalence of fuel smuggling in Iraq has far-reaching consequences. It not only affects the economy but also has social and political ramifications. It undermines the government's legitimacy, fuels corruption, and deprives the state of much-needed revenue. The loss of revenue from fuel smuggling means less money for public services and infrastructure, further exacerbating the country's challenges. Moreover, it distorts the market, harms legitimate businesses, and poses risks to public safety and the environment. Illegal fuel operations often lack proper safety measures, leading to accidents and environmental damage. Addressing this challenge requires a multi-pronged approach involving strengthening border security, tackling corruption, and reforming the fuel subsidy program to make it less susceptible to exploitation. Comprehensive reforms and international cooperation are essential to curbing this illicit trade and restoring stability to Iraq's fuel market.